Hey, and welcome back to Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. Today, we're diving into one of the most controversial figures of the Wild West, Tom Horn. Was he a cold-blooded killer, or was he wrongfully executed for a crime he didn't commit? Stick around to learn more. Tom Horn was born near Memphis, Missouri on November 21, 1860, one of 12 children. But life wasn't easy for young Tom. Often a loner and subjected to his father's abuse, he ran away from home at just 14 years old. By 15, he had joined the army as a scout and quickly became embroiled in the Indian campaigns of the time. Along the way, he picked up a useful skill: Spanish. After Geronimo's surrender, Horn left the military and tried his hand at mining in Aravaipa. But it wasn't long before he was back in the saddle. In July 1888, he won a steer roping contest in Globe, Arizona, showcasing his prowess as a cowboy. By 1890, Tom Horn had served as a deputy sheriff under 3 different sheriffs in Arizona. But it was his work with the Pinkerton Agency that earned him a darker reputation. As a roving gunman, he allegedly killed 17 men while on the job. The pressure to resign eventually forced him out, but Horn's days as a lawman were far from over. In 1894, Horn resurfaced in Wyoming, this time as a cattle detective working for beef barons. He denied ever killing anyone in this role, but offered his services as a hitman to the cattlemen embroiled in the Johnson County War. For $500 to $600, Horn claimed he would take out any cattle rustler standing in their way. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, a feud between the Miller family, cattle ranchers, and the Nickell family, sheep herders, had reached a boiling point. It was much like the infamous Pleasant Valley War, with both sides vying for grazing rights. In mid-July 1901, the 14-year-old son of the sheep farmer, William Nickell, was shot and killed while tending to the flock. It turns out the bullet may have been meant for his father, as he was shot just a few short months later. In addition, about 60 to 80 sheep were brutally slaughtered. Jim Miller and his son were arrested on suspicion of committing the deed, but they were later released on bond. U.S. Deputy Marshal Joe LaForce had his suspicions about Tom Horn, but LaForce wasn't exactly a paragon of virtue himself. With a shady background and a tendency to toe the line between the law and outlaw behavior, LaForce devised a plan to ensnare Horn. The two exchanged several letters discussing a potential job, with LaForce setting Horn up for an assassin gig. They eventually agreed to meet, and during their conversation, LaForce made a telling statement.
"You are the best man to cover up your trail I ever saw. In the Willie Nickell killing, I could never find your trail, and I pride myself on being a trailer."
To this, Horn replied,
"Nope, I left no trail. The only way to cover up your trail is to go barefooted."
It was during this meeting that Horn unknowingly confessed to the killing of young Willie Nickell. However, what Horn didn't realize was that a court reporter was hidden nearby, taking notes. But here's the thing: no physical evidence was ever found linking Horn to the crime. As a hired assassin, could it be that Tom Horn was merely taking credit for a murder he didn't commit, all to bolster his fearsome reputation? Horn later claimed he was drunk during that interview, but the damage was done. On October 23, 1902, he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to hang. On November 20, 1903, Tom Horn was executed, one of the few people to be hung by the water-powered Julian gallows. If you've never heard of this type of gallows, I encourage you to look it up. But was Tom Horn truly guilty? The evidence against him was shaky at best, based largely on a possibly drunken confession, with no witnesses and weak physical evidence. In September 1993, a mock trial was held in Wyoming to re-examine the case. The jury found Tom Horn not guilty. So what do you think? Was Tom Horn a ruthless killer, or was he a scapegoat for a crime he didn't commit? Leave a comment down below and let me know your opinion. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell for notifications. And in the meantime, I'll catch you on down the trail.